We often encounter homeless people on the streets because the economy is uncertain, and it's tough to make money nowadays. Many countries are facing more and more homeless individuals. Most of them are not dangerous, but people are often hesitant to approach them because you can't predict how desperate they might be. There was a woman who learned this the difficult way when she tried to assist a homeless man, but his reaction made her call the police. Marina is a 37-year-old teacher who lived in the city. Every morning, she would walk through the busy streets to the metro station to commute to work. For the past weeks, she became familiar with a homeless man who sits on the same spot every day. The two are so used to seeing each other every morning that they started giving each other friendly smiles. Marina initially thought that the man was deaf because he would never say a word, even when she greeted him with a good morning. But one morning, the man finally spoke to Marina. When he saw Marina walking his way, he waved her over. Marina approached him with a smile and said her usual good morning. This time, she was surprised when the man spoke to her. He asked if he could give her a spare blanket the next morning. Marina understood his request since it was already winter and the temperature was starting to drop. Marina promised him that she would bring him a blanket the next morning. The next day, Marina overslept. She stayed out late checking the test papers of her students, so she was practically running to the metro station when she realized that she forgot the blanket for the homeless man, but it was too late to go back to her place now. When Marina neared the corner where the homeless man usually is, she sees that he now has a large backpack beside him. His face brightened up when he spots her in the crowd of commuters. He must have been looking forward to getting a blanket. Marina ran over to him and apologized, telling him she forgot about his blanket because she overslept. She made another promise to hand it over the next day and quickly rushed off. Marina was able to make it in time and catch her ride. Once she was seated, she immediately feels guilty about the homeless old man. He was looking forward to receiving a blanket and she had failed to deliver. One of her colleagues asked her if she was okay. She noticed that Marina looked like she had something very serious on her mind that day. Marina then told her about the homeless old man and her broken promise. Her colleague commended Marina for having a good heart, but she also warned Marina to be careful while interacting with the homeless. She told Marina about something she read in the news last week where an old lady helped out a homeless young man. That young man ended up following her home and robbing her. Marina's eyes widened when she heard her colleague's story, but she doubts that her homeless man would ever hurt her. Marina told herself that she should bring the blanket to him right away when she gets home from work. When classes were over, Marina rushed home. She dug up a thick old blanket and placed it inside a paper bag. She immediately left the house and headed towards the homeless man's spot. He was still there, sitting on the ground. Marina called out to him. The homeless man turned around and sees Marina holding up a bag. He smiles and quickly grabs the bag from her. Marina was surprised by how he suddenly grabbed the bag, but she noticed that he looked very happy and grateful. She smiles and is glad to have done her part and helped out a person in need. Marina then turns around to leave when the homeless man grabs her arm to stop her. The streets were practically empty because of the cold. If something happened to her, nobody would come to her rescue. Could her colleague be right? Marina took a deep breath and calmed herself down. She looked at the man and he signaled to her not to move and to wait for him. He ran to his spot and retrieved the backpack she saw earlier that morning. The homeless man offered the backpack to Marina. Marina quickly shook her head and declined. She waved the backpack off, saying that she had everything she needed and that she was just glad that she could help him out. This seemed to insult the homeless man. He looked a bit mad and told her, "Don't you owe me this after letting me spend another day out in the cold?" And just like that, he was able to guilt Marina into accepting the bag. Marina finds the bag to be surprisingly heavy. She finally arrives home and drops the bag in the hallway. She was tired and hungry, so she decided to check its contents later on. The next morning, Marina woke up and gets ready for work. When she was about to leave, she sees the backpack in the hallway. She completely forgot about it. She was about to pick it up when she noticed there was a pool of liquid underneath it. The liquid looked like it was coming from the backpack. Marina checked her watch and concludes that she had no time to investigate the bag thoroughly. She had to leave right away. The liquid did not smell bad or suspicious, so she thinks it was safe to leave it as is. Marina walked out the door and decided to just ask the homeless man about it on the way to the metro station. But to her surprise, the homeless man was not there. His spot is all cleaned up, and it was as if he never was there. But then she spots something familiar. She sees the blanket she gave him folded up neatly. Why had the old man disappeared all of a sudden? Marina became suspicious. She decides to take the day off to get some answers. She calls the school and told them she had a medical emergency. When she gets back to her apartment, she immediately checks out the bag and screams when she sees what's inside. Marina falls over and kicks the bag away. She was not sure what to do. But would the cops think of this as an emergency? But Marina needed help, so she dialed 911 and told them about the homeless man and his unexpected gift. When the cops arrived, Marina pointed at the backpack in the hallway. She told them she was unable to take a good look at what was inside because she was too scared. The cops let their dog sniff the bag to make sure it was safe first before picking it up themselves. The cops took the bag out to her balcony where they took a peek at what was inside. The cops looked at each other with serious looks on their faces. One of them calls their station and tells them that the chief should come over quickly. Marina, who was told to stay by the door, could not see what was in the bag. When she heard that the police chief is coming over, she immediately felt worried. Orders were also made to look for the homeless man. Will the homeless man be arrested? Another police car came over. This time there were more cops and the police chief was with them. One of the cops interviewed her, asking her questions about the homeless man. Marina described him as well as he could and told them where he usually stays. When the police officer arrived at the spot near the metro station, the homeless man wasn't there. They asked people nearby and gathered information to find him. What they discovered was quite unexpected. Inside the homeless man's bag was a frozen stuffed animal, but this wasn't any ordinary stuffed animal. It turned out to be the preserved remains of an extinct animal that had been stolen from a museum a long time ago. The homeless man explained that he and a friend had stolen it but couldn't sell it, so he hid it under a bridge with some other interesting but worthless things. The freezing weather had kept these items preserved. He believed that returning the frozen stuffed animal would make up for his actions since it was the most valuable thing he had. This cleared Marina's name, and the stuffed animal was returned to the museum. The old man ended up in jail, and Marina felt sorry for calling the police so quickly. She realized she should have talked to the homeless man first. However, the man reassured her, saying that at least he would spend months in a warm and dry cell with regular meals.